Welcome back. Welcome back to the Chef Joseph's Kick Sauce and Entrepreneurs channel. You know, today's video basically it just came to me when I was swimming this morning, and I don't really know what the title is going to be, but it's we're going to discuss taking care of yourself, taking care of you. Before we dive into this conversation, I want to have a moment of silence. I like to take a moment of silence, right? And for those of you who know, you know. But let's just take a minute before I even start. Let's just have a moment of silence and just close our eyes, right? And just take a deep breath. Maybe a couple of deep breaths. So here we go. And just relax. Just relax. Make sure all the noise is off around you, by the way. Just listen. Man, okay. Yeah, it feels pretty good. A lot of people do not know how to relax. They don't know how to just take a moment of silence for themselves. There's so many things going on in the world today, as we know. So many things. Bills. I mean, everybody has a unique situation. That's why I wanted to take a moment of silence, you know what I'm saying, before I even had a conversation with you guys. Because, like I said, there's so much going on, and we have to learn how to quiet the noise around us. Spending time alone is not such a bad thing. Actually, that's where a lot of your innovation and power comes from. Just learn to be alone with yourself. It's so many things I could say, like even on my journey. Again, Chef Joseph's Kicks Off an Entrepreneurs channel. The journey that you will go through, when you're trying to get to the top in your life. There was a time in life where I wasn't so much on the right side of the tracks. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High allowed me to come out, and not to mention fighting what people said about you, all kind of things and stuff that are not true. Some of it's true, some is not. But bottom line is, it's your life. It's your life. Don't y'all forget that it's your life. People will formulate opinions about you based on what they think. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Everyone goes through things in their life. Everyone goes through things in their life. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's failed marriages, whether it's bad breakups, whether it's, can't pay your bills, whatever. That's why I want to take a deep breath, really. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to become overwhelmed, you know, with so much going on. And this just came to me when I was swimming laps this morning. It was like, man, we have to learn to just spend time alone and to really, allow ourselves to become recentered or recalibrated, you know, um, and become grounded, because it's easy to be, tossed like the wind, to and fro, as the scriptures say, like the boat, you know what I'm saying, just tossed by various waves. And at this stage in life, I am so, not only am I phenomenal, I got it together. You know what I'm saying? And I know who I am. So no matter what anyone thinks about me, I literally don't care. Because that's their opinion. That don't mean it's true. You know, Jay-Z had a song, Where's the Love? Said, what you eat don't make me SH. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because what you eat don't make no difference to me. Long as you know who you are, and I'm saying that to say for you all to know who you are. There was a time in my life, on this whole entrepreneur journey, which I never thought I would be in this particular space. My child's mother used to speak very negative of me. It's actually, I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm actually writing about all this stuff, journaling. Yeah, I mean, the critic, like, because a child was conceived and you couldn't shake the bitterness, you falsely accused me. Falsely. I know you all may have heard me mention that in a couple of videos, but that's pretty serious. That's something I will never forget. Not because I deserved it, not because I warranted that in my life, but because it was a ploy to keep a good father away. You know, I will never forget that. To this day, I could have been registered a certain way, which was based on lies. you know, but you know what? I'm still shining. And like Jay-Z said, brush the shoulders, brush the dirt off your shoulders. Because that's what I did. Brush the dirt off my shoulders. And yeah, so I'm saying that to say because there's a lot of things like distractions. And I just brought that point up because bottom line is you have a child growing up who thinks that daddy didn't love them, all kind of narratives. Y'all may have been through some of these things. You may can identify with that. That's not cool. I've always been a proponent of and I'm going somewhere with that, but I've always been a proponent, like, if you can't get along with someone, go your way, you know what I'm saying, and then that person go their way. But that don't mean you have to poison other people, because that blood is going to be on that person's hands. I remember once I had a friend, Nathaniel and his wife, and they were having like marital problems. I think she was real jealous of him because he was a minister, and every time you turn around, they was arguing. And I'll be over there on Sunday evening. They would cook and all. It was a really good time. Back in the hometown, and we watch movies and stuff like that. They were really good friends, but they always would come up like somehow arguing about something. It really hurt from what I could see. And every time something would happen, they would call Nathaniel's mother, and she would have to come all the way from the country, probably like a 12, 13 mile ride, just to break them up. And I remember one Sunday evening, they called him Ma Dukes. That's what he called it, Ma Dukes. Ma Dukes, God, I found out she had passed, by the way. And to those who know Ma Dukes, Bishop Nathaniel, what I'm saying, my heart, I wasn't able to make it to the funeral, but you know what? She was a real woman, so I definitely want to put that out. But yeah, so I remember she was like, I'm tired of coming down here every time y'all arguing. Y'all grown people, y'all should be able to work it out yourselves. She said, I tell you what you do. She made them both stand up in the middle of the floor. And she said, y'all turn around, put your backs against each other. So I'm like, what in the world is she talking about? And so they was spaced back to back, two grown people that was married. She said, now you walk 500 yards that way and you walk 500 yards that way, and you ain't got to never worry about bumping into no one ever again, to each other ever again. And that was that was a cute lesson. I love it because it's true. And yeah, so I'm saying that to say that that's one of the things that I walk with. I live with that every single day. Especially when you are a good person. Yeah, we done been through things, but that does not give anyone a right to poison an innocent child, straight up. And when the truth hit, hey, I'm free and clear. You know what I'm saying? But more than that, the child is in the middle. And yeah, I'll never forget it. So if y'all may have heard me mention that before, it's because it's a real conversation, and it's something that that I live with every day. Going, spinning into the conversation of just quieting your mind, taking care of yourself. That's where I was going with that whole thing. Because even in the midst of that, I live with these things every day, where, the situation I just told you. So I worked through that. I had to fight through the lies behind that. I've been judged behind it. Hell, I don't even have my own child behind it. You know what I'm saying? Behind someone else. And the Most High will reckon in the day of that, and that's for sure. So saying all that to say, that was just one little snippet of how we can be pulled in different directions. So, and different things that could sting, and sometimes we can fall into just like emotional depression and things like that. And back to what I was saying, like she would spew like very negative things about me. You're an amoeba. You're just like the bottom of my shoe. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, like it was serious. We don't need you. We don't need this. We don't need that. We don't want you around. Like, and my child sitting there listening to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're an amoeba. You know, and just different negative things. Let me tell you what happened. And I believed it. I looked up at 20 something years old. I was in a homeless shelter sweeping the floor because I gave up on myself. That's what y'all don't know. I gave up on myself behind somebody else pouring negative stuff into me. So, back to this conversation. Take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't let anyone label you. Do not let them put their false opinions on you. Know who you are. I may not have the words correct, and I'm not a singer, but the most I do speak to us through music. Um, anyway, I can't use that song, but it's kind of how I interpreted it, for my own spiritual growth, which was cool. But however, just know who you are. Know who you are in this whole thing. Quieten the noise around you. If y'all are in situations that are not healthy for you, look, man, get out. You know what I'm saying? Just walk. You don't have to fight. You don't have to argue. You don't have to bicker. Look, just walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Because why? That's another thing. Because if you're on your journey to entrepreneurship, you're going to need your whole frame. Everything. It's going to take everything. Your mental faculties, physical faculties, spiritual faculties. You're going to be drawn from a lot of stuff. You can't be drawn off of stuff when you're dealing with toxic people around you. People who don't want to see you win. People who, they smile in your face and hold around, they want to take your place. You know what I'm saying? The backstabbers. Nobody got time for that. So bottom line is really quieting the noise around you. I suggest getting to a place of solitude where you either go to the mountains or go to the ocean. Just go to your place of where you can have a peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about what people think. Let me tell you something. The things I'm into now, I get looks, I get all kind of stuff from these little haters. But they're not doing what I'm doing. And more than that, and I'll take this from, I will borrow this. I won't take nothing from the minister. But from the minister, he said a lot of people talking about they don't have the testicular fortitude. The testicular fortitude it took to come out of homelessness, the testicular fortitude that it took to fight through my own demons, at that time, the testicular fortitude when folks falsely label you as a deadbeat father and all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I walked away. That's what I had to do for my own peace of mind. I walked away. Y'all can have the marbles. Y'all can play in the sandbox. Y'all got 20-something birthdays, 30-something birthdays under your belt without me. No one thought, how is daddy doing? How is no Father's Day? You understand? No father, no one pick up a phone to say, you know what, this is your day. But the mothers got them all day long. Got their days. I didn't have that. In my father's days, many of the years, I spent in a shelter, building my life by choice, by the way. Some people are there by choice, some people are there by force. But I will tell you, like, I had, it's another story, but however, I had something in my situation where it prevented me from getting a job for a while. And then when I was working, it was through temp companies and stuff like that. But I was very thankful. But yeah, so this video is dedicated to y'all, to those. It's just to take time to quieten the things that are around you, so you can basically get into your creative space, so you can start to create. Oprah said it best. I think she said basically that we were all born with gifts, and it's our responsibility to find out what they are. You know what I'm saying? We all have gifts and talents. And it's our responsibility to find out what those gifts and talents are to use them. But you can't do that if you all over the place. See what I'm saying? You got to get to a place where you're grounded, where you can hear the voice of the Most High. You can hear your inner voice as well, so you can get on your path. We don't have but one life, sometimes two or three, depending on who you ask. But yeah, really though, like Snoop said, really though. But yeah, really though, you know, I know I've hit many lives, but I'm in a beautiful place, and but yeah, find your creative passion, and let me leave y'all with this right here, right? To those of you who may not know, you may say, well, what is my gift? Like, I don't have a clue. I've met many people that say that I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And you know what? This lesson I learned, I read this in a book, and this was like phenomenal. The book is called Success Without a College Degree. Let me shut this. Success Without a College Degree. Dissolving the roadblocks between you and your success. Or one more time. Success Without a College Degree. I think the subtitle was Dissolving the Roadblocks Between You and Your Success. And this is probably one of the most profound things that I heard or read in my life. Because it talked about those who didn't know what they're supposed to do. And it said this in the book. It was saying, if you don't know what your passion is, it says take like a Saturday, a day you have nothing to do. Put your cell phone down. Turn it off. Do not disturb. Like literally, do not disturb. Because this is critical for your growth. I'm gonna leave y'all with this one. And it talked about how, just go down. First of all, when you go to the library, the book, he didn't recommend go down the fiction side, because a lot of that's fairy tales and fables and stuff, and a lot of people read fiction books and stuff. And I've been trained by some really good mentors, and the bottom line is we're already living in a dream state. So if we're trying to get on our path, we don't need to be reading nothing fairy tale. We need to read nonfiction. And that's another thing. You can tell a lot about a person depending on what type of books they read. Because if people reading fiction books all the time, ain't nothing wrong with it, but it's like, man, just look at where they are. Some people can get stuck in that aloof state. When you read nonfiction, boy, that's when you get down to working and building and etc. So, I would just say have a mixture of both if that's what you like. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So he was saying go down each aisle in the library. Go to the nonfiction side and go down each aisle. And every book that catches your attention, pull it off the shelf. Just pull it off the shelf. You read the title and just pull off that catches your attention, and you go back to the table, and it talks about continue to do that, and then you sit there with nothing to do, and you just turn the page. Just look through the books. Take your time. Don't rush, because the title it intrigues you for a reason. And so you get to the table. You might have 15 books, and then you get to the table and then you flip. And you be like, oh, that's not what I like. Okay, flip. That's not the book I like. Okay, this is not it. And if that stack don't work, keep doing it over and over. Eventually, you're gonna run into that book that sparks your creative interest. Ain't that amazing? Oh, that's beautiful for real. That's a jewel. So now you done narrowed it down to 3 books. Man, I like this title. I like this title. I like that title. You know what I'm saying? And then when you narrow it down to that 1 or 2, check those books out and study them. Nonfiction, by the way. Business, entrepreneurship, and it can possibly lead you into your destination. And then you study that craft and taking notes in that craft. And guess what? Open up a business. Hello. It's not as hard, but you got to do it when you don't have nobody around you, like a bunch of distractions and stuff like that. So, anyway, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe to this channel. Again, I have a lot to say. I'm actually working on another series. It's more so, it's talking about the journey and things I went through and stuff like that. But really for you to gain inspiration you know, to gain inspiration so you can apply it to your own life, because so many of you are unhappy, whether it's in your jobs, career transitioning, things like that, transitioning to other careers, maybe relocation. There's a lot of things that people are into, that may be, you may be wanting to go into new spaces, but you can't do it if you have a lot of clutter in your life. So declutter your life for real. I know sometimes we were in the kitchen and it's like you go to look for something and it's like, man, I know I set this over here, but and then you got new people coming in and all. Look, man, don't be moving stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, declutter your life. I don't live with a bunch of clutter, yo. I can't. How you gonna find something? Something happened. You don't know where to dig, and you dig and dig. Declutter your life. So anyway, I'll leave y'all with that. The book was called Success Without a College Degree. Success Without a College Degree. And those of you who are not happy or you're trying to find your path, look, man, you might have to cut some folks off. Family, relationships, loved ones, whatever it takes. Because the Most High give us one life. And I don't believe that we should go through this life unhappy and suffering. I don't believe that, because we all have something to do. It's a lot of work to do out here. Especially when you look over in Africa, you look at Burkina Faso, you look at the Congo, you look at South Africa. These are brothers and sisters over there as well. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot globally happening. So definitely expand your mind to globalism, and definitely this is no type of hate or anything. It's just that just know who you are, know who we are, and put it to work. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna get looks, you're gonna get folks hating, you're gonna get all kind of stuff. I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but I'm just saying it just amazes me that when one person gets on their path, everybody seems to have something to say. They look at you funny and twist the nose. That's like, why? You know what I'm saying? You put your pants on just like that next person do, and you have 24 hours in a day just like that next person. And if you want, you ain't gotta hate on nobody for that. So anyway, success without a college degree. Like and subscribe to this channel. I told you I wrote a book last time, so if you're in the food sector, go to chefjosephskicksauce.com. You can order you a market ready guide to those who you can cook, fry, you can bake, you can do things like that. You can basically I have a guide there. It's like $12, and it's a downloadable copy too. So it's going to help you get on your path to entrepreneurship in the food sector. So anyway, y'all have a good one. Take care of your mental health. You know, cut dead weight off from you totally, and get to yourself and spend time alone. And in my opinion, I don't mean anyway. I'm getting to that, but just spend some time alone and don't let other people dictate, your narrative of where you're supposed to go in life. So with that, I'm out, and y'all have a phenomenal day. It is about 80 degrees here at the beach. And yeah, and my day is already started, but it's about to really officially start. So yeah. So anyway, peace and blessings to y'all, and we'll take it from there.